Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week 2 of Coalition League's Summer Split. I'm Random Minion Caster, and this is the Demacia League. And for our second series today, we've got Warmother's Children versus Imagine Wagons here. Two new teams to the league with a couple of familiar faces on the blue side for this game. We have Warmother's Children, top laner Curtis Rocks, jungler Cromulus, mid laner Deathstone 9, ADC Ancient Fear, and support Viperisk. On the red side, it's going to be Imagine Wagons with top laner XX Wolf, who some might recall from Xnull last week. He played ADC substituting for Xnull last week. In the jungle, Granddaddy Jax. In the mid lane, the Phallic Phenom. In the ADC role, it's going to be Finny, a returnee from the last split, part of the winning champion team here, Roar Rampage, and he's back now playing ADC for Imagine Wagons this week. And for support, an E substitute for Imagine Wagons, it's going to be Heal Slowat. And with that, one other thing we need to note here is that this is actually game 2 of the series. Imagine Wagons taking a forfeit here in game 1 due to, it looked like some difficulties with timing. They were unable to field their entire team and ended up giving up a forfeit. So Warmother's Children coming into game 2 here with a lead already. And with that, we do need to keep in mind if Warmother's Children wins this game here, they will be up on the series already 2-0 right off the bat. And without any further ado, we'll go straight into the picks and bans here for the two teams. Warmother's Children on the blue side going to ban out the Set, Echo, Warwick, Darius, and Miss Fortune. So a bit of focus here on the solo lanes as well as the jungler. That Warwick, they don't want to see a tanky wolf coming out of the jungle. On the side of Imagine Wagons, they're going to lose one ban here. It's going to be right off the bat. They're also going to ban out Teemo, Yasuo, Ezreal, and Caitlyn. So interesting bans coming out of the side of Imagine Wagons here. Teemo, not really one of the play champions from what I can tell from the OPGG of Warmother's Children. So a little surprised they're banning that one there. And we'll have to see how that works out for them with that particular ban. In terms of picks, Warmother's Children going to first pick that Yuumi for Viperisk. Now, Viperisk on paper, the weak link here for Warmother's Children, does play a lot of Yuumi though, and Yuumi in a way is very good for mechanically weaker champion players, because Yuumi can just sit on a better player, and their best player on paper on the team going to be Ancient Fear, a gold player, gold 2, so should be able to cover that up with the Yuumi. So instant first pick there for Warmother's Children. They're going to grab themselves up the Galio, Volibear, Jinx, and Kale as well to round out their composition. And we've seen Volibear played in the jungle just earlier this week. It was Xnull, Chefboy69 playing the Volibear in the jungle, and he made it look incredibly powerful. So we'll have to see if Cromulus can do the same here. I'm quite liking this composition from Warmother's Children. They've got really strong late game skilling with the Jinx, with the kill, auto attack, champions here with a mix of AD and AP, and then they've got a solid front line with the Galio, with the Volibear. The only thing they have to be careful of is they need to be able to reach that late game. We saw kill being played earlier in the other Demacia division game, Prismatic versus DOV Chaos, and unfortunately in that game, Just Storming trying to play the kill struggled a lot here for Prismatic to sort of scale into the late game and hit that point where he comes really powerful. And even when he did, his short range became an issue. On the side of Imagine Wagons, they're going to pick themselves up a LeBlanc, Nami, a Mumu, Mordekaiser, and Jhin. Mordekaiser being a very, very strong pick this split here in the Coalition League, doing a lot of work. And against that Kale, Curtis Rocks is going to have his work cut out for him, trying to survive the laning phase and scale up against that Mordekaiser, who is extremely powerful in the early and mid game and tends to scale extremely well. And we've seen what happens when one top laner sort of gets an overwhelming advantage on the other here. So hopefully Curtis Rocks will be able to hold on. And Phallic Phenom getting his LeBlanc, that's one of his most played champions here. So definitely a scary proposition to give that over to him. And Deathstone picking that Galio, actually, it's definitely a safe pick, a bit of a counter pick as well. Very strong against mages, against magic-based assassins. So hopefully we'll be able to lock down Phallic Phenom there. And the heroic entrance is going to allow Deathstone to reach any lane which Phallic looks to gank as well. And I think a lot of the action here, it's going to revolve around that top and bot lane. Curtis Rock needing to be able to survive, and bot lane, Ancient Fear and Vipers against Finny and Heal Slawat. Finny doing really strong for himself last split in the ADC role. Did share it with some other players as well last split when he played with Raw Rampage, but showed that he can be very lane dominant, and Ancient Fear and Vipers are going to need to survive that lane. And if they can do that, if they can scale up, then I do think Warmother's Children is going to be able to take this game quite handily here. And with that, we are going to head right into the game here. And this is a reminder, Game 2, Warmother's Children picking up a free win in the first game due to some issues with Imagine Wagon not being able to field their entire roster on time here. We're seeing plenty of pings come out, but most likely we're not going to see a level 1 invade. Neither team having particularly strong early games at level 1. No real hard CC. You've got the bubble from Heal Slawat's Nami, but that's going to be about it. And on the side of Warmother's Children, they do not want to fight level 1. Kale is incredibly weak. Yumi also not the strongest here, and Vipers with the Yumi going to pick up the Exhaust and Ignite. No heal again, so this is the more offensively oriented Yumi. Now top lane, XX Wolf going to just get a little bit of poke here onto Curtis Rocks. Curtis Rocks being walking in there a little bit aggressively. No wards dropped. Not quite sure what he was looking to do, but we'll be able to just disengage quite safely there. It was only the Mordekaiser in the bush. And it is going to be quite an uphill battle here for Warmother's Children in this series here. Gonna have a bit of a not this series, pardon me, this game, because of the skilling they need on their team. They're gonna have to play through that mid lane in the early game, and we've seen Gallios be very, very strong in lane, very high base damages on that Winds of War, as well as the Justice Punch and the passive here. So if Deathstone can be that early game strength with Cromulus, that's what Warmother's Children is going to need here in this game too. We already see the trading a bit between Phallic Phenom and Deathstone, and Phallic Phenom using the range advantage to just harass Deathstone a little bit here. Have to see if he'll be able to keep it up and continue applying that damage, because Deathstone has quite a few pots as well, and a lot of resistance to that magic as well. Will scale quite nicely into that lane in the early mid game phase. And the junglers too will be a large focus of this game. Both Granddaddy Jax and Cromulus will need to sort of get action going. Cromulus probably needs to support his laners quite a bit more now. Bot lane, we do see Ancient Fear getting bubbled up. Gonna take a lot of damage. That fourth shot almost taking him down. The Ignite coming, and that will be Ancient Fear going down. First blood for Finny in the bot lane there. I think that was just Ancient Fear sticking around a little bit longer than he should have. No real way to heal himself up or survive. When he took that fourth shot there, he should have just backed right off. Instead, sticking around, allowed Heal Slawat to get the Ignite down, and then the one more shot. And now Vipers has to be careful. Top lane, Cromulus looking for a gank in that top lane. Will burn the flash out of XX Wolf there, and that will give Curtis Rocks a nice bit of space to allow him to farm up and scale in that top lane. A solid first gank coming out of Cromulus there. Granddaddy Jax opting to just try and pick up the scuttle. They've got the river there warded up quite a bit, and will definitely want to contest with it. Now Vipers has to be careful. He's hopped off of Ancient Fear for some reason and is vulnerable, just barely dodging out the bubble there. If that had landed, we might have seen a second kill in this bot lane here. And Vipers hopping back onto Ancient Fear. Ancient Fear at this time is a little bit behind. Will want to just be able to farm up a bit safely. Does have the refillable pot, so not very confident, not very sure that he's going to be able to survive this lane. It's just going to go for that healing and get ready to just base if he has to repeatedly. the sustained battle between the two supports. Viper is already out of mana, so we'll have to be careful. We'll not be able to heal up Ancient Fear. And Ancient Fear are going to get another bubble, eat yet another root from Finny here. But Cromulus has arrived, is looking to back up his bot lane. Unfortunately, Finny and Heal Slowat on the bot side was shading away from them, did just disengage right away. So they will remain safe there, and Cromulus not going to find anything on this bot lane gank for now. Still sticking around, will now run into Heal Slowat there, but unfortunately he's really far up. The rest of his bot lane not quite with him. They were busy just trying to farm out the way, push that out a little bit. And now Viperisk left really far out, going to take even more damage. Mid lane, Phallic Phenom able to find Deathstone, but they will trade ignites, and both of them going to go down here in the mid lane. So Phallic Phenom just going to get a little bit of experience lead from that kill there. In top lane, somehow Curtis Rock's able to really control this lane. That early gank from Cromulus helping him out a lot as he gets possession and control priority in that top side lane bot wave right now. Finny just standing there as he's trying to control the wave. Granddaddy Jax is waiting in the wings here in the alcove area, and Finny faking a disconnect, it looks like. Unfortunately, the minion wave still pushing in, so will not be able to quite get the gank position here. The wave is starting to push out, but Granddaddy Jax is going to base, and instead Finny and Heal Slowat going to take advantage to just push that in. Ancient Fear going to get shoved under his turret once again, and Ancient Fear actually doing a really good job keeping even in CS thus far, despite going down earlier in that bot lane here. And it looks like the bulk of the action thus far really just down here in the bot lane. A lot of trading back and forth in the top lane. We did see Curtis Rocks just getting damage on XX Wolf, but other than that, they're just kind of farming it up. And Curtis Rocks actually finding himself a sizable CS lead right now, forcing the back out of XX Wolf, and XX Wolf going to teleport back into lane. Curtis Rocks getting the ranged upgrade now on the Kale passive. That's going to be extremely massive for him because he's going to be able to safely farm up minions without having to get too close to that Mordekaiser. Now flash coming out from Finny in the bot lane. He's looking for the kill. The flash from Ancient Fear, but the heal means there's a speed boost here. Now Cromulus has arrived. Finny is really deep, and it's going to be Heal Slowat actually going to be up a creek with no paddle as Deathstone uses the heroic entrance to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, Finny very deep into enemy territory right now, just looking for a safe place. The back will not be chased down because Warmother's children are going to want to pick themselves up the first Drake of the game, the Cloud Drake here. So they will happily let Finny go in exchange for that Drake. And that's great for Warmother's children, especially in that bot lane. One of the two major carries. If they can sort of alleviate the pressure, let Ancient Fear get a little bit of hit here with the CS, with any assists or goal or kills that they can pick up gold on, that will be great for them. Curtis Rock, again, just dodging out on the claw just a little bit. He has been doing great, dodging a lot of the skill shots in that top lane there. Did base as well, but opted to walk back into lane rather than using the teleport. Will go even in CS, but it has a massive wave pushing in, so will be able to farm up that nice chunk of gold. Has picked up a stinger and a pair of boots early here, so going just straight for straight attack speed, as well as movement speed to dodge out some of those skill shots coming out from the Mordekaiser. And we do see XX Wolf getting a really deep aggressive ward near the blue buff of Warmother's children here. They want to be able to see Cromulus coming out because Cromulus on that Volibear can do a lot of work, but unfortunately Curtis Rock's getting caught out here, dragged into death realm. We'll try and flash over, buying time, dodging out a lot of the skill shot. Intervention comes down and does manage to survive that. Did expend the flash though in the top lane, so does have to be careful because the next time that death realm comes up, Curtis Rock is not going to have that flash available to dodge and avoid getting killed in the 1v1. We do see pings coming down. Both junglers have been spotted out here. Granddaddy Jack spotted, but bot lane is where the action is. As curtain call comes down, the angle is not great. Viper is hopped off and is going to take quite a bit of damage here. And Finny didn't quite get the angle, was a bit off there. Will not be able to continue getting damage down onto Ancient Fear and Vipers. Can they get out of that sticky situation there? Now Granddaddy Jax has to be careful. He's run into Cromulus in the bush there. will have to flash to get himself out, but does successfully get himself out. Now Tidal Wave coming out from Heal Slow What, and they're going to be able to pick Viperisk out here on that Yuumi. Viperisk, a bit of questionable positioning, constantly caught out, and they're going to be able to pick up a double kill onto Ancient Fear now as Finny force shots, and it's going to be the Ignite from Heal Slow What to pick that one up down in the bot lane. Heal Slow What now 2-1-1. Mid lane Phallic Phenom is going to go down to the Ignite of Deathstone. Lots of action popping around the map here, and this is sort of what we expected in the mid lane. Galio very, very strong against those AP champions, and LeBlanc needs to find kills somewhere. Unfortunately, not able to get anything, and that's going to put Deathstone at 3-1-0 right now. He's got himself a bit of a lead, and that Dark Seal there for Phallic Phenom, unfortunately not going to have any stacks. Now bot lane, Ancient Fear is back in lane with the support. Top side though, it looks like Granddaddy Jack's able to secure himself the Herald, but it's going to cost him his life as Deathstone and Cromulus find him and manage to take him down there. So that's Herald traded over for the jungler. It's still going to be worth for the side of Imagine Wagons if they can find a good place to put that Herald down. But it's very dangerous to keep feeding these kills over the way of Warmother's children. Kill score even right now. A lot of the work coming from the bot side of this map. Now Yuumi using the ultimate, getting a lot of damage down. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across. They're going to pick up 2 kills in the bot lane. One going over to Vipers, one over to Ancient Fear. And top lane, XX Wolf and Curtis Rock's going at it. Curtis Rock, no flash time, has to be careful. The movement speed is just barely enough to dodge out the mace from XX Wolf. And yet again, they trade ultimates, and Curtis Rock somehow remaining alive. But Phallic Phenom looking for a kill. Could not find it mid. Is going to look down to the bot side right now. But this is a 1v2. Does have to be careful. The tether will land onto Ancient Fear. He's going to get rooted up. But with Vipers there, Phallic Phenom's just going to say, no, thank you. Don't feel comfortable. Will instead disengage. And Ancient Fear able to get out alive for now. And in that fight, Vipers didn't even use either Exhaust or Ignite. So we'll still be up for the next fight here in the bot lane, and hopefully we'll be able to stop the engage next time with the Exhaust and Ignite, because they've died already twice in lane. Ancient Fear, and if none of the summoners are being used, that is a questionable sort of situation there, where Vipers might have been able to save Ancient Fear. Finny just getting tons of damage on that bot lane turret. The side of Imagine Wagons, their bot lane able to pick up almost all the plates here, looking for that first tower. And they're going to drop Shelly down there to pick up first turret. Might be a bit of overkill, but they want gold, and they want gold early. Not to mention Dragon spawning in 8 seconds here. So with the pressure from Shelly, they are going to probably look to rotate onto that second Drake, pick up for themselves their first Drake of the game. They're going to escort Shelly in. The damage coming up from Finny there. He does get rooted down, but the good bubble will stop Cromulus. The heroic entrance won't catch anybody, but Deathstone is in the area. Granddaddy Jack's gonna walk in there, stop the engage, but he's gonna go down. Super Mega Death Rocket just to make sure he's dead, and Heal Slow What gonna go down as well. Finny running for the hills, had the Ignite on him, extremely low on health, and those summoners doing work. A flash coming up from Ancient Fear with the heal for movement speed boost, and they're gonna be able to pick themselves up 3 kills in that bot lane there, and Ancient Fear starting to look real scary here. 3, 2, and 3 has the makings of an Infinity Edge already. We'll probably be able to pick that up on the next base, and suddenly, while Imagine Wagons pick up the first turret and look like they were going to be able to pick up this dragon, they're going to end up giving that over the way of Warmother's children. Phallic Phenom going in, just trying to see if he can get a steal there, but Cromulus does manage to secure it with the smite, and that's going to be the second Drake going the way of Warmother's children. Warmother's children in the lead right now, 1.8k gold ahead at 13 minutes on a composition that wants to scale. So that's really good news for them, that they are ahead somehow in the early game on a composition that on paper looked weaker in the beginning. And that means they're going to be able to scale that much harder. And so it's really up to Imagine Wagons right now to try and find an advantage, find some sort of a way of getting their leads right now. Heal Slow What in that top lane, looking for the slow, looking for the stun, looking to try and let XX Wolf get this fight. The tidal wave comes out, but Curtis Rock already under turret, will use the intervention, will remain safe. Is a bit low though, does have to be careful that he doesn't get dove here by XX Wolf and Heal Slow What. And with that bot lane turret down, Finny looking to go to the mid lane as well. Flash from Comless as he gets the stun onto Phallic Phenom, but a good flash will get Phallic Phenom away to safety. Can they get the kill? No, the lightning comes down. Winds of War comes across, but Phallic Phenom somehow remains alive with a sliver of health. Now the curtain call coming out to dissuade and disengage here. This is not really going to do that much damage. Unfortunately, the fourth shot of curtain call does not land. And so on the side of Warmother's Children, they'll be able to continue their push here. Viper's able to keep them just topped up on health here. It's just unfortunate we've not seen Granddaddy Jax really get any solid good ganks off in the early game thus far with the Amumu. He is level 8 now, does have access to the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and so we really need to see Granddaddy Jax be the one to engage for his team. There's really no other option here. Everybody else is squishy. Phallic Phenom will be wanting the flanks. Seasoned Assassin would not want to go in and be the first one in, because if he's the first one in, he's going to be the first one dead. Finny and Heal Slowat also rather squishy champions here, so not in their best interest to be the ones initiating either. So all eyes are going to be here on Granddaddy Jax for that initiate for Imagine Wagons to begin turning things around. And now they're in that top lane here, looking to try and get Curtis Rocks, but a beautiful heroic entrance from Deathstone. He's been using it basically on cooldown here, and it's going to do a lot of work. They managed to disengage, dissuade Granddaddy Jax and Phallic Phenom for now, but Curtis Rocks is a little low, does have to be careful, does not have intervention ready. So Phallic Phenom could potentially turn around and burst him here. And Deathstone just going to use the Winds of War to just dissuade Heal Slowat from engaging. But Granddaddy Jax so squishy at this point, taking so much damage just from that short trade there. But all this action is happening on the top side. Mid lane, Finny is just going to keep on pushing that mid turret here. Oh, it's already picked up the first turret of the game for himself. He's going to look for another one. Top lane, Curtis Rocks will use the intervention. It did come up just in time. And the question is, can he pick up Phallic Phenom? No, he cannot. The minion's going to do work, but it will not be enough to take Phallic Phenom down. And Phallic Phenom finds a kill in the top lane onto Curtis Rocks there. Getting a little overconfident, it looks like, on that kill. He's been doing amazingly well against the Mordekaiser, but that is a LeBlanc. It's a very different beast altogether here. The burst damage coming out of LeBlanc can absolutely destroy a squishy target like Kale, especially once the intervention has been used. And it looks like Ancient Fear Vipers managed to successfully dissuade Finny from taking that mid lane turret, but it is extremely low. About 500 health left, and the top lane also about 20% health as well. So a lot of standing gold here for the side of Imagine Wagons to pick up as soon as they get a good siege on. When Imagine Wagons going to rotate straight to that Herald, there's no vision anywhere along that top side here for Warmother's Children, so they're not going to realize it's going down right now. If you look flip side, Imagine Wagons does have plenty of vision around that Herald. They've sacrificed the bot side for it, and XX Wolf might pay here as the stun comes out from Cromless. He's going to drag Cromless into the death realm, but the Stormbringer, the stats there, Cromless will be happy to go toe-to-toe 1v1. Unfortunately though, Curtis Rocks going to get popped once more in the top lane, and once the death realm is gone, they suddenly realize that they're sat right in the middle of the entirety of Imagine Wagons. Somehow Deathstone still alive here, manages to turn around, and they get both Finny and Heal Slowat, as well as Granddaddy Jackson. Quadra kill for Ancient Fear. That's going to be an absolute nightmare for Imagine Wagons. He comes just in time to pick everything up there. Now 7-2-3 has the Infinity Edge completed, has the Zeal, and has just under 2,000 gold. Gonna be 2,000 once he picks this turret up. So we'll be able to complete his boots as well as his Zeal item most likely here for the side of Warmother's Children. And we saw what happened when a Jinx gets fed just earlier today when Prismatic Esports, Prismatic Esports I believe was the one to have the Jinx there, who got really fed in the late game and becomes an absolute monster. It will be all up to Phallic Phenom there to be able to find and take down the fed Jinx. And now it looks like on the side of Imagine Wagons, they're collapsing with 4 on that dragon. They've already missed it, and that is going to be Infernal Soul Point here for the side of Warmother's Children. You just need one more to start getting the additional Infernal Burst damage there from Infernal Soul, and that puts Imagine Wagons in a really tight spot. They're up against a scaling team who is at Soul Point, which means the next time Soul is up, they'll have to choose between Baron or Soul. They do, however, manage to pick themselves up that standing mid-outer turret, which is extremely low on health, so do manage to even out the gold score right now. Both teams neck to neck in terms of gold. The side of Imagine Wagons playing the turret game really well right now. They've picked themselves up 3 turrets despite losing all the dragons. I think a lot of that coming down to Granddaddy Jackson not being in position to contest a lot of these objectives. He's down levels, down gold as well against Cromulus. And they need to start becoming more proactive. A lot of these fights right now for Imagine Wagons, very reactive. They see a fight starting. The only person really getting the picks there is Phallic Phenom. And topside, Ancient Fear just going to run up and be able to pick himself up that turret. They're going to drop Shelly into that bot lane, but the heroic entrance comes down. Curtis Rocks right now under his turret. Does still have intervention available here. Curtain Call coming down from Finny right now. Only has the 2 shots, will go down, and now Granddaddy Jack's going deep in, will not be able to find the Curse of the Sad Mummy. They do manage to pick up the inner turret though, as Shelly was pounding away on that. Throughout all of that, they do take it down before it goes in for the second one, and Phallic Phenom diving in will be able to bait out 2 ultimates here. We see the intervention as well as the super mega death rocket come across. So Imagine Wagons winning the macro play, the rotations here for themselves. Extremely well played from them. They get yet another turret. This one an inner turret now. They start to chip away on these inner turrets, picking up more gold for themselves. And they didn't lose anyone in that either, despite going very, very deep. Unfortunately, though, that's not a sign of confidence for Granddaddy Jax that he did not manage to take down Curtis Rocks there, did not manage to land that Curse of the Sad Mummy, despite going so deep in. And for the side of Imagine Wagons, they're going to need Granddaddy Jax to start stepping up to land those engages. Phallic Phenom's been doing a ton of work here. They're about to lose their last outer turret because Ancient Fear is just chipping away at those turrets. Jinx getting those stacks on her Pow, I believe it's called, her little mini gun there, doing a lot of work, just shredding her way through those turrets if left unattended. And she's 7-2 and 3, has completed the Infinity Edge, the Runan's Hurricane, as well as the Zerker's Greaves, and now paying the QSS tax for the Mordekaiser. So XX Wolf going to have a lot of problems. You can't isolate that Jinx anymore. We take a quick look at the items here for the 2 teams. The first completed item for XX Wolf already done compared to Curtis Rocks has the Leandries there, and looking like he's going to be building into the Rylai soon after. And if you look at Curtis Rocks, just completed the first major item, the Gnasher's Tooth. Interesting choice there from Curtis Rock. We usually do see the Gunblade completed first, or the Rage Blade. In the jungle though, Cromulus well and ahead of Granddaddy Jax, has the Cinderhulk completed, almost got the Spirit's Visage completed as well here for himself. Granddaddy Jax only having the Cinderhulk components actually of the Thornmill as well, but not a lot of health, just building straight resistances from now. A very interesting choice considering that health usually considered more valuable in the early game. If you don't have enough health, all the armor in the world will still not save you from the damage coming out of a lot of these champions here, but will help a bit against that Jinx, will slow down the auto attack damage as well as any healing or lifesteal. In the mid lane here, Banshee's Veil going to be the first item for Deathstone, and it's actually worked really well for him, especially in lane against Phallic Phenom, who has completed himself the Luden's Echo as well as the Oblivion Orb, 2 stacks on the Dark Seal, so starting to become a little bit more efficient there, and will be looking to continue picking up those squishy targets. But effectively, it's only going to be Curtis Rock, because Ancient Fear is kind of squishy, but I'm sure Vipers is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at anybody who tries to dive the very fed Jinx for now. And speaking of that very fed Jinx, we already went over her items, but if you look at Finny here on the Jhin, got the Essence Reaver complete. A bit of a mixed item path here. He looks like he's trying to go for the Storm Rages, but he had to detour to pick up the Executioner's Calling here to try and make sure that Ancient Fear doesn't get healed up too much by Viperisk. And after a bit of a rough start for Viperisk there, it looks like Viperisk and Ancient Fear doing really well for themselves. 7-2 and 3 on Ancient Fear, 1-1 and 9. That is almost a perfect support score there for Viperus. And they're both setting up for this Inferno now. XX Wolf running hit into the middle of the team. Granddaddy Jack's finally getting a Curse of the Sad Mummy off, but only catches 2. And it's not the 2 they want, unfortunately. Curtis Rock gets pulled into the death realm, but XX Wolf was running away, and we see Granddaddy Jax go down almost immediately. Cromless soon to follow, and Viper is somehow managing to steal the kill onto Finny there. XX Wolf coming out the death realm, finds himself in the midst, deep in enemy territory, will go down. Ancient Fear is very, very far off to the side, has instead opted to start up the Inferno one, so that ends up being a 1-for-3 trade. But Deathstone and Viper is going to keep chasing Phallic Phenom and Heal Slowat here. They do have the speed ups here, but so does Heal Slowat, and it looks like they're going to be able to get themselves out there. But that is Inferno, so going the way of Warmother's Children as well as a one fight. That's going to be absolutely massive for them because they do have quite a bit of poke at their disposal here. The Winds of War from Deathstone, the Q from Yumi, as well as the W, the Zap coming out of Ancient Fear as well. And the game is starting to look a bit more one-sided. The gold lead really only 2k at 25 minutes. That's not a huge amount, but I'm sure for the players it feels a lot more than 2,000 gold gap, because it just looks like everything's just going Warmother's Children's way right now. They're the ones determining where to go, what to fight, and they took that Drake very, very handily away from Imagine Wagons, and that was with Granddaddy getting that initiate into the backline. But look at the burst onto Curtis Rock there. Just one rotation of spells from Phallic Phenom almost took him down. Curtis Rock's gonna have to find somewhere safer to go farm instead. And Curtis Rock's now being chased down. We see all of Imagine Wagons on that top side. Warmother's Children now appearing in the top side as well. Looking like they want a fight here. They're not going to set up for Baron. Instead, Cromless running in. Can he find anybody? The Stormbringer comes down. They're going to find Heal Slowat here. Heal Slowat dodging out the Super Mega Death Rocket, but Curtis Rock still going to be able to pick that up with the autos there, and they just find one right away. XX Wolf, however, on that bot side, gonna keep on pushing. They already took the inner turret last time with the Herald's assistant, and now they're looking to try and get the inhibitor turret as well. Somebody has to go back to deal with that, and it's going to be Curtis Rock teleporting down to that bot side. We'll get down just in time to stop the wave. The turret going to take a bit of damage, but 60% will be able to heal back up. That's the heal down, though. We'll not be able to rejoin the rest of the team, as it looked like Warmother's Children wanted that Baron, but without the numbers advantage, they decided to just back out on this one for now. And Imagine Wagon's going to be able to stall out this Baron for the next little while. And that's going to be a great boon for the side of Imagine Wagons. They need a bit of time to reset here. And we have the Volibear. He's going aggressively in. They will be able to find XX Wolf. Ancient Fear going legendary here. Double kills. They get excited. Find Healing Slowat here. And now Phallic Phenom has to be careful. Is in range for Heroic Entrance. Does manage to pop back out there. Curtain Call coming across, but it will not find Deathstone. And Ancient Fear going to be able to just shred this turret down to less than 40% now. Phallic Phenom going in, will get taunted up, will not be able to pop back out. Oh, that is the clone though that they put the Ignite onto, so well played from them. And Cromless going to go down to Finny's fourth shot there. They're going to be able to pick Deathstone up as well. Where is Ancient Fear? Where is Vipers? They ran away so far. And Deathstone and Cromless trying to turn around without their carry end up meeting a very, very sad fate. And that's going to be great for the side of Imagine Wagons. The kills going over to the carries. Finny be able to find a bounty for himself here. And he's got about another 2,000 gold as well in his pocket. Still going to be quite a ways away from catching up with Ancient Fear, but closing the gap significantly. They're both over 10,000 gold. Will be able to hopefully pick up a third item for himself as well to match that Phantom Dancer coming out of Ancient Fear. And the gold gap continues to grow a little bit. It's now up to 3,000 from that previous 2,000 gold gap we saw. So Warmother's Children still just find themselves small leads here in the farm. And Curtis Rock's almost level 16. That means we should be seeing the fully upgraded Exalted passive coming out of Curtis Rock soon. So team fights will be swinging completely the other way here. I'm not sure giving Viperous to Curtis Rocks is necessarily the best call here, because Viperous going to be leeching some of that experience, and with the way solo experience works, you want Curtis Rocks to get as much solo experience as possible here. That being said, you also don't want Curtis Rocks to be overextended on his own. He is trying to take that inner turret, but will be collapsed on here. Granddaddy Jax and Finny going to be able to find this kill for themselves. They said everybody here, and in that chaos, it's going to be Heal Slow What picking up the kill there onto Curtis Rocks. Not the person you want. Tidal Wave now coming across, and Baron going to do a ton of damage. Phallic Phenom going to be one getting the kill onto Vipers, getting a shutdown. And it's going to be Granddaddy Jax picking up a 700 gold bounty onto Ancient Fear. That is the worst possible start to that. Imagine Wagons, everybody is up for them. They're going to be able to easily pick this Baron up. Deathstone waiting on the side, but Cromulus is the one with the smite, and Cromulus not available. He went back to try and stop XX Wolf, and suddenly imagine Wagons finding themselves a lead after a beautiful engage there onto Warmother's children. This is absolutely massive for Imagine Wagons. They've been struggling behind the entire game. Suddenly they're up in the lead. They've got themselves an inhibitor turret down, as well as Baron. They will be able to push in here 5 strong on the side of Warmother's children. They have all respawned, so it will be a full 5v5. An Elder coming up in 10 seconds here. Looks like Imagine Wagons wants this Elder Drake here. They're feeling confident after winning that fight at Baron. They have to be careful though. They won that fight at Baron also partially because Vipers got caught out on his own there in the Baron pit. Both teams have all the ultimates ready to go here. Oh, pardon me. Not quite on the side of Imagine Wagons. The Curse of the Sand Mummy still not up, and that is a massive ultimate that needs to be ready. It's still going to be down, it looks like, for quite a while yet, so will not be available. And it looks like it's been started up 27 seconds on that Curse of the Sand Mummy. But Phallic Phenom finds Ancient Fear, gets the heal out of him as well. Granddaddy Jack's going to have to be forced backwards out of that Finny burning flash and heal there to keep alive. And now the tidal wave comes across. It finds Cromulus, it finds Curtis Rocks. Curtis Rocks still not level 16 yet, but the intervention gonna buy himself a bit of time. We'll be able to flash out to safety, and Granddaddy Jack's gonna go down there. XX will find in Curtis Rocks, but where's Ancient Fear? He's still alive, still outputting damage. He finds Finny, finds Heal Slow, finds XX Wolf as well, and will find Heal Slow What, and that's a triple kill now. Super Mega Death Rocket coming across will not be able to find Phallic Phenom, but Phallic Phenom is the only one left alive on the side of Imagine Wagons, and that should be Elder Drake going the way of Warmother's children. This game just keeps swinging back and forth here. Phallic Phenom will get spotted out by the ward. Ancient Fear has to be careful. He doesn't want to be too close to these turrets, or he might get bursted down. But Phallic Phenom just going to go to that bot side, going to join the minions, look to try and pick up the inhibitor there for themselves. And that's going to be Elder Drake on 4 members of Warmother's children. Baron buff left only on Phallic Phenom here. Ancient Fear going 12, 3, and 7 has picked himself up the Mortal Reminder here as well. Will have additional armor penetration, shredding through the tanks here on the side of Imagine Wagons, except they don't really have a proper tank yet. Granddaddy Jax has the Abyssal Mask, has the Thornmill, but that does not synergize with Cinderhulk. And so he's still going to be quite squishy despite the resistances, and having the 25% armor pen onto Ancient Fear means that Granddaddy Jax is going to be basically just a paper mache being shredded here in the next couple of fights. And we know what Imagine Wagons has to do. At Baron, we saw them do it. Find the backline, find Ancient Fear. If you can kill Ancient Fear, you win the fight. That's basically their win condition. Unfortunately, at the Elder Drake, they couldn't find Ancient Fear. He somehow managed to go undetected for quite a while, just free firing on the backline with the rockets, with the crits. And now they managed to just brute force that mid lane inner turret. They still have the Elder buff here, so they can look to continue pushing in. And we do see Phallic Phenom looking for that flank position, seeing if he can find, catch, and kill Ancient Fear. Curtis Rocks here finally hitting level 16, split pushing in that bot wave. It did take him quite a while, and he will be adding quite a bit to these team fights as well now if he can join the team. Phallic Phenom going in, does get a burst of damage onto Ancient Fear, but it will not be enough. Does have the Morelos to try and cut the healing a little bit from the Yuumi. But they can afford to just wait it out, heal back up. Thankfully, there's no Ocean Drake available. And now the heroic entrance down onto Curtis Rocks if they do get themselves an inhibitor turret. Phallic Phenom going down, and this could be the beginning of the end. Stormbringer coming across. They will find heal slow. What? The Super Mega Death Rocket is a field goal, and now XX Wolf using the Death Realm defensively. They somehow find the double kill onto Finny. Looks like it was the execute from the Elder Drake. Now XX Wolf gonna go down. Does use the Zonias just for a little bit longer, but it does not matter. The execute would have taken him if Ancient Fear did not, and that's going to be only Granddaddy Jax left alive for the side of Imagine Wagons. And this looks like it's going to be game. The tower's just getting absolutely shredded here. Granddaddy Jax coming out of his base, but that's just going to give yet another kill to Ancient Fear here. The Nexus turrets are down. Next person to spawn is going to heal slow in 5 seconds, but it'll be too late as the Nexus itself goes down in a 35.5-minute game here. Congratulations to Warmother's children as they win this series. And Ancient Fear just popping off 14, 3, and 8 here. Absolutely massive. Hard carrying his team. Cromulus and Deathstone putting up an absolute meat wall in front of him as well, buying him time to get that damage down into these fights. And there was just nothing Imagine Wagons could do. Phallic Phenom tried his best to do anything he could, did manage to find Ancient Fear a couple of times, and every time he did, you could see that they won the fight there. So absolutely massive from the side here of Imagine Wagons. And with that, Warmother's children winning the series handily here for themselves. And yeah, if you're Imagine Wagons, I mean, it's really unfortunate that they had to forfeit the first game here, because it just does mean that Warmother's children wins this, and they don't get a second chance to try and adapt to what they saw here from Warmother's children. And so that means the other teams looking at these games here, you really don't know what you're expecting out of both of these teams. Definitely you'll need to find some way to access Ancient Fear, either that or ban out the Jinx, ban out the late game hyper carries. But there are so many right now in the game. There's Tristana, Caitlyn, Jinx, so many options here for Ancient Fear to go onto. And Volibear once more showing up big on Cromulus. We didn't see the Stormbringer dives onto turrets quite as much because he didn't need it. He just flat out found kills, found targets, played very aggressively with the Yuumi onto him, could just flash in, get those stunts right off the bat. And on the side of Imagine Wagons, Granddaddy Jax is going to have to find a different way to play that. Did struggle a lot to get any good engages. 1, 6, and 8, his final score there. Finny doing a lot of damage, but unfortunately ending the game 5, 6, and 7 despite getting a lot of damage in these fights. And on the side of XX Wolf as well, not quite able to really get those fights. Did end up losing the early game to the Kale, to Curtis Rocks there, and that's an absolute issue. You can't be having that against a late scaling Kale. And with that, that is the series, ladies and gents. I'm sorry that we only have one game for the series here, but Warmother's children winning it 2-0 here. Easy sweep for them against Imagine Wagons due to that forfeit. And so we just get a little taste here of the Demacia division. Unfortunately, we still don't get a complete picture here. And one thing to note is that there is most likely going to be some more teams added into the Demacia division. So definitely tune in this Friday, because most likely for the live stream this Friday, we will be following the Demacia division, and we'll probably try and spectate one of the new teams in the league. Either that, or we'll watch another Warmothers or Imagine Wagons game, because we certainly didn't get a good feel for either of these teams here today. And with that, thank you all for tuning in. Random Minion Caster, and it's been a blast streaming all the games, casting all the games today. We'll see you guys Friday for the live streams. Have a good one.